Hi, my name is Ian Gibson, presenting the second assignment of EDC 1200. I've chosen to present this assignment on the Christmas Island tragedy. On the 15th of December 2010, a boat carrying asylum seekers smashed onto the rocks unexpectedly at Christmas Island, a remote island of Australia, killing 28 people. This event stirred many emotions within Australia, both of sympathy and the attitude that it served them right for trying to skip the queue into Australia. These comments were reinforced by other people's comments on the YouTube clip that this was taken from. This event was one of many involving refugees, causing debate within the Australian community of whether or not boat people and refugees deserve to be in Australia. I believe that this event relates to the notion of difference in that, as Giroux describes, many of Australia's white population see asylum seekers and refugees as the other. I believe many white Australians see the Australian identity at the centre, under the impression that white Europeans, such as themselves, belong here and this is their land. This view of superiority to other cultures is also reinforced by the United Nations view that racism is embedded in Australia. This notion has also been encouraged and reinforced over the last few years by the stereotyping of Muslims and of Middle Eastern people as terrorists. I believe many Australians see foreigners as a threat to their identity and way of life, especially Middle Eastern cultures and religions. Some events that have contributed to the failure of Middle Eastern cultures in Australia include the 9/11 attacks of 2001, where Islamic extremists attacked America, killing 2,976 people, and attacks in London in July 7, 2005. The term Aussie Pride has been developed by many, describing what white Australians use to describe their patriotism and love of Australia. This nationalistic view resists multiculturalism. McMaster 2002 describes that Australia should capitalise and acknowledge our diversity, generating a unique and vibrant community. Maley, as cited by the Islamic Human Rights Commission, states that the vast majority of Afghans and Iraqis in detention are found to be genuine refugees, yet they are denigrated and scorned, depicted as potential criminals. In fact, the 1958 Migration Act states that it is not illegal to seek asylum in Australia, even if arriving by boat. The key learning area that this topic would be included in would be studies of society and of the environment. The age group that I would be targeting this learning experience at would be secondary school. However, I believe it would also be suitable for all age groups. Some strategies that could be incorporated would be to invite a class speaker, such as an asylum seeker, to share experiences and answer questions in a forum-style environment. Further strategies outlined by the Queensland Studies Authority include brainstorming immigration issues, and in particular the refugee issue that Australia is facing and why these refugees have come to Australia, charting the countries that refugees have come from, conducting a class survey of students' culture and heritage, promoting migrants' contribution to Australia, for example a Snowy River scheme, and promote Australia as a multicultural country made up of many cultures and identities. Assessment tasks could include a research assignment on famous refugees detailing how they came to Australia and what they have contributed. These contributions and strategies will assist learners by deepening their understanding of difference and community identities by learning about other cultures. I feel that this would break down barriers of ignorance and of the unknown. I also believe that promoting immigrants' contributions to Australia would also highlight contributions made by immigrants now and in the future. This event has potential to engage students' identity locations, as it will describe their way of life in contrast to others, challenging their focus on themselves at the centre in relation to the axes of identity, race, religion and culture. Further engagement of students' identities would also include students' self-reflection and how they see the Australian way of life in contrast to the circumstance that refugees have faced, for example war and persecution, in their native countries. I believe that this event would allow me to overcome disadvantage and marginalisation in the classroom and the community by education of students in other cultures and by making them aware of the circumstances that refugees face. This would reduce the zone of difference between the majority of white Australians and what they perceive as the other. This education and shortening of the zone of difference would not only benefit the classroom environment but also society now and in the future, reducing prejudice and discrimination in the community. This is reinforced by Johnson, 2001, as he states, education is increasingly seen as the fundamental building block of both economic and social progress. I believe, as an educator, it is my responsibility to promote awareness and reduce discrimination of my students and by my students through education. I also believe, through this small contribution not only to my students but to society, I will hopefully contribute to education mediating difference and dominance.